All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you're new. Thank you guys, as always, for joining me today. And thank you, as always, for waiting patiently for the intro to do what it does and giving me a little bit of time here. Today, we're talking all about Wolverine. We have a new report that you guys brought to my attention yesterday. It actually came out during our stream, but we were kind of in the middle of talking about a different topic, all about The Last of Us Part 2. I still see that some people in the chat are still talking all about The Last of Us Part 2. So I want to save that topic for a deeper discussion today, talking all about Wolverine, what's going on with this game, when can we expect it, is it going to be the hyper-violent version of Wolverine that we're all expecting and hoping for. Professor MBG. Yeah, I do have my glasses on today. What's up, Jake? What's up, Corey? Appreciate you guys showing up. See Gypsy, Solid Snake asking about The Last of Us Part 2. Well, man, if you're curious about that, we talked all about it yesterday. Yeah. I mean, nearly 4 hours. I mean, it was a nearly 4 hour stream. We talked about a couple of other things, but we talked a lot about The Last of Us Part 2. So if you didn't check out that stream from yesterday, I'd recommend it if that's what you're interested in. So not only are we going to be talking about Wolverine, but there is something else PlayStation related that occurred that I don't think is something we should be dedicating an entire stream to by itself, but I do think it is pretty important, at least to a certain extent, and that is one of Sony's first-party studios, that being Housemarque, has actually lost its director. He's actually announced that he's departing the studio and he's leaving the studio, and obviously this brings up conversation like, are things going wrong at PlayStation Studios? And we can all have our assumptions, but either way, it is relevant. Like, it's definitely something that the studio Housemarque is going to feel the impact of. But I figured we would just talk about that, let you know what's going on there. I'm sure some people are curious as to why he may be leaving, although I don't necessarily know that I'll be able to provide the answer for you. But I see that Corey the Legend Landiga. I knew you were here early, man, but I didn't. He's just out here dropping a 10 bomb. Corey does it, man. Corey once again drops 10 membership gifts. So he wants to kick off the stream in a big way today with some big support. W's in the chat for Corey. Thank you so much for that, man. It's actually a great way for me to just kind of segue into letting everybody know how you can support the content, how you can support the streams, how you can support the community. Obviously, one way of doing that is becoming a channel member. And if you are already a channel member, like Corey is here, you can also, like he's doing, gift channel memberships. We are doing a new thing here on the channel. It's a perk that members get. It's called the Members Lounge. We're going to be doing another Members Lounge after today's stream. And I actually have a small update with that I want to tell you guys about. Just to let everybody know, because there was a little bit of confusion yesterday. But yeah, we're going to be doing the Members Lounge. It's something we're going to be doing multiple times throughout the week at the end of streams where it's just members only. So, Corey, really appreciate you kicking off the stream in a strong way here by dropping 10 membership gifts.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
yeah, I mean, just like that, we're already close to hitting the goal, which is awesome to see. I'm just looking over the names of some of the people that were gifted here. Yeah, it's really cool to see now because I see like Michael Lynch was gifted, a bunch of people gifted. I just want to keep reminding people that if you are gifted a membership, you now have access to the Members Lounge. So definitely give a big thank you to those who are gifting. We also have Steven Cardinal. Look at that. Steven Cardinal wants to chime in here. He drops 5 membership gifts as well. That's 15 memberships gifted in just a matter of minutes. Look at that. Steven, I could be mistaken. I think this might be your first time gifting memberships, man. But either way, that's awesome to see. Thank you so much for that, buddy. Got to give a big thank you to Steven.
Appreciate it.
Get some W's in the chat. And then another legend returns, Hellbound 1981, doing what he does best, dropping 5 more membership gifts for the stream and the community. Guys, we need some W's in the chat. Absolutely, for these guys, because they brought us to 20 members gifted. It's been less than 5 minutes since I came on camera, and we're already that close to hitting the goal. That is insane. You guys are incredible. It's awesome to see, man. So just like that, 20 more people are now gaining access to the members lounge where we get to hang out after the stream. Amazing to see. So Hellbound, Steven, Corey, thank you guys so much. I got to give you a, let's see. I'll give you a Mark Cerny.
Rely on teraflops.
I'll give you a Mark Cerny for that. So we're going to definitely dive into this topic. Let me just update the member goal really quick here to reflect the generosity. Let's see. Wow. Wow. Look at this. Look at this. As I'm updating the goal, look, guys, do you see these? Do you see these community members right now? Corey's like, I'll do it. Here's another 5 members. We're hitting the goal. We're hitting the guys. It's not even 15 minutes into the stream and we hit the goal. Stephen Cardinal, you're saying this is Cardinal Music, by the way, just on a different account. I appreciate you letting me know, man. Okay, yeah. Good stuff. Well, Steven, I really appreciate it. And Jake Skew as well. Look at, wow. Full-blown membership train right off the bat. Once again, I know might seem a little bit redundant, me thanking these guys so much, but like I tell you guys all the time, these are the guys that power the channel. These are the community members that make this a possibility for me and for us. And so thank you guys so much. We actually are at 26 members already. The goal today was 25. You immediately destroyed the goal. You didn't even give it a chance. So 26 people, just like that. Let me finish updating this and we will dive into the first topic. I appreciate you guys remaining patient with me here. And we are good to go. So, yeah, I got to just, I got to give you guys one of these for destroying that goal already. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So, to everybody, again, who supports the channel, thank you so much. It means a lot, more than you know. And we are going to dive into this topic here. I want to talk to you guys about this. I have a report. Marvel's Wolverine will launch in 2025. It's set in Madripoor? How do you... I guess that's how you say it. Madripoor. I think this is an area in Marvel. It's like a fictional city in Marvel. Madripoor. I think I'm saying that correctly. You guys can let me know if I'm saying that correctly or not. You know how I am with my pronunciation. You're saying so Insomniac lied. What did Insomniac lie about? I don't think they lied about anything. Oh, and you know what? Really quick, before I dive deeper into this topic, I did just want to let you guys know, because there was some confusion that occurred yesterday. With the members lounge, I saw that there were some people frustrated yesterday because I had created a members lounge stream, and that stream like immediately ended just as it started. That was actually a technical error. And I think some people were confused and thinking that they were like locked out or something, even though they were members. Just to clarify, that was a technical error. I had a couple of technical issues yesterday. I've since sorted them out. That won't be a problem again. So I just wanted to make anybody who may be here right now aware that if that happened to you, you're not locked out of anything. The stream just crashed and I had to restart it. So that's not going to happen again. All right. You're You're saying MBG streaming games in the lounge is not fun. Can I say that? No, you can say that. Yeah, we're not going to... Streaming games in the lounge is not something that's going to happen very often. It'll be on occasion. Yesterday, I did it specifically because I was testing out my new setup. But the members lounge is mainly going to be just exactly that. It's going to be members lounging, hanging out, talking, chilling. And Stephen Cardinal, this is crazy. Wait, hold on. I'm very confused. Hold on. How did this work? Stephen, you were able to gift memberships before being a member? What? Wait, hold on. How does that work? I'm very confused. I thought you had to be a member. Unless maybe it's a little bit delayed. Maybe he became a member and then gifted and it's just showing up differently. That's very interesting. I'm assuming that's what happened because as far as I'm aware, you have to be a channel member to gift. Unless Steven somehow broke the system. It's showing up now, yeah. I guess maybe it was... You're saying it let you gift first? Really? Guys, can we get some confirmation of this? I don't know. Can we get some confirmation? Is it because maybe you're a member on a different account? I don't know. That's very strange, but interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Devil Shooter. He did say he was on another account. Maybe the account, it detects that his other account is a member, so it lets him. That would make sense. Yeah, so interesting stuff there. But either way, thank you for becoming a channel member on this account as well, Steven. Welcome to Greatness Awaits. That actually brings us up to 27 members already on the day, which is incredible to see. So thank you so much. And again, sorry to keep you guys waiting. Let's go over this report. It says here, being reported by Gaming Bolt, with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 now out, all eyes will now be turning to Insomniac Games' next title, which is Marvel's Wolverine. And though official details on the game are currently scant, some information may have emerged thanks to a fresh leak. As per prominent leaker Daniel Richtman, aka Daniel RPK, Marvel's Wolverine is set to launch sometime in 2025. Though a previous leak by journalist Jeff Grubb claimed that the game was targeting a fall 2024 release, it was said at the time that the game could be internally delayed, which, if this new leak is anything to go by, seems like that's the case. Daniel RPK also claims that Marvel's Wolverine will take players to Madripoor, a fictional city in Southeast Asia in the Marvel universe that's described as a haven for pirates and criminals. Whether that means the entire game will be set in Madripoor or if it will serve as one of several locations that players will be visiting remains to be seen. In his aforementioned leak earlier this year, Jeff Grubb claimed that the game would be a semi-open world title rather than a fully open world one. Meanwhile, Daniel RPK also claims that Marvel's Wolverine will have a darker and more violent tone than past Insomniac titles, which of course is something that was confirmed by game director Brian Horton shortly after the game's announcement in 2021. Of course, if Marvel's Wolverine does indeed miss a 2024 launch, it should be interesting to see what Insomniac has planned for the year. Will we see DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2 or perhaps a Venom spin-off title? Or will the studio take a well-earned break from releasing anything and focus entirely on Marvel's Wolverine development? So yeah, I think that's actually a pretty interesting thing they bring up here at the end, whether or not we're going to see something between now and Wolverine's release, if they're going to release anything. But I also want to give a big shout out here to the Leninator FFC, who re-ups his membership. Welcome back to Greatness Awaits, my friend. The Leninator, thank you so much for that, man.
Appreciate it.
In doing so, you have now brought us to 28 members, which is amazing, again, to see. Thank you for that, my friend. Big shout out to you. But I need to ask you guys, what do you think? What do you think about this new report regarding Wolverine? I mean, it's a pretty, I'd say, tame leak. It's not like we're learning critical details, but it does kind of give us a little bit more to go off of here. Most importantly, that apparently the game is now targeting 2025, which, I want to talk about that for a moment here. Is that surprising to anybody? I feel like a lot of people were already thinking that Marvel's Wolverine was going to be a 2025 game. I've actually seen people saying that they expect it to come after 2025, possibly 2026 or something like that, which to me sounds a little bit too far off. But I feel like a 2025 release for Wolverine actually isn't, it's not that surprising. I think the real question here is simply this. If it is going to come out in 2025, is it going to be an early 2025 game, a mid 2025 game, or a late 2025 game? You're saying Insomniac needs their sleep. Yeah, that's the thing, man, is we did get that report from Jeff Grubb that claims, or he did claim that they were internally targeting holiday 2024, and I believe it. The reason why I believe that is because I mean, it just seems to me like there's a lot riding at this moment in time on Marvel's Wolverine. You know, we've been talking a lot about how we just don't know much about Sony's other studios and the roadmap and when these games are planning to release. But Wolverine was announced in 2021, and it's not we can't classify it as a new intellectual property because it's Wolverine, but we can classify it as a new game that is going to require likely a lot more dev time than, say, Spider-Man 2 did because they're going to have to build everything from the ground up. So the idea that it's not going to be releasing just 1 year after Spider-Man 2, if this leak is to be believed, is actually very believable to me. I don't see any. I mean, I don't want to say it's not possible. Like it could still be possible, but I don't know, man. It just seems like Insomniac, if it's rush this game and get it out holiday 2024 or give it the time it needs. You know, give it the time it needs and push it to say like March 2025. I'd be totally fine with that. I would actually prefer that. I have a lot of expectation for Marvel's Wolverine. So, yeah, them giving it the time it needs, I think it's a smart decision. I think it creates a question though, and that is if Wolverine isn't releasing next year, what is? Right? If Wolverine is actually going to target 2025, what else could Sony have specifically from their internal studios ready to go? Now, I see Dan is saying Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2 could be coming out next year, but that's a third party studio or second party partnership between Sony and Kojima Productions, which still again counts for something. Spider-Man and God of War DLC. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking that Sony, this God of War DLC that's been rumored, apparently is going to be something along the lines of similar in nature to what we saw, what they did with Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, as well as Spider-Man Miles Morales. So it's going to be treated almost like a standalone title, and it remains to be seen what this game is or what this DLC is going to be. That's the rumor anyway. It could end up just being basic DLC. But I will say that if Sony really doesn't have much to release from their first party next year, treating this God of War expansion more like a standalone game, I think would be a very wise thing for them to do. And the big question with that is if it's going to star Loki or not, or if we're still going to be playing as Kratos. But yeah, there could be that. I think it's obvious there's going to be Spider-Man DLC, which is funny to think because, I mean, Insomniac clearly just doesn't stop. But yeah, there's very obviously going to be some type of Spider-Man DLC. I just don't know what to expect from it exactly. You know, if it's going to be a kind of continuation, if it's going to be a side thing, if it's maybe they'll do a DLC where you play as Venom or something. I'm not sure, where it's like focused on Venom. There are many different directions they could go, but we also have to consider that Concord is coming out in 2024 as well. That's been reconfirmed by Sony. Concord seems like it's not going to suffer a delay. So Sony's first party output potentially next year could be Spider-Man DLC, a God of War expansion slash standalone game, and Concord. Now, Concord is the big question mark to me because I think when we hear that, yeah, bruh, it sounds like, oh man, I don't know. If Concord is the major release from Sony next year from their studios, uh, do we have much confidence in that? I think it's fair to say that a lot of people don't have a lot of confidence. But yeah, that Dan, see, that's the thing. That's a question I'm asking as well with Concord. What if it's really good though? What if it is really good, and it turns out that like people love it? I mean, it could be a surprise hit, or sleeper hit, but we have no idea right now. But that's the thing, man. Is like it seems to me like Sony might be able to get away with a weaker 2024 from their first party studios if need be. I say this because again, they have so many partner studios that apparently their games are going to be ready to release next year. I mean, if we get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Helldivers 2, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Rise of the Ronin, Death Stranding 2, sure, none of these games and none of these studios are owned by Sony, but they're all exclusive to PlayStation, at least for a minimum of like a year. Although I think with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's going to go to PC like 3 months later or something. I mean, and then you throw Concord in there, you throw some Spider-Man 2 DLC in there, and then maybe a God of War expansion. That actually, I'll be honest with you, that really doesn't sound that bad. That really doesn't sound that bad to me. Obviously, it doesn't sound ideal, but if Sony has to, if that's what they have to lean on while their studios are busy, working on games like Wolverine, and 2025 and 2026 is essentially going to be like a, just like crazy years for PlayStation. Yeah, I agree, Jay Shako. That's the thing. You're saying that's stacked. And Lost Soul aside as well. I get it. Again, I understand that these are not first party games, and it would look. I would ultimately be disappointed a little bit if, and it seems like now we know Wolverine's not going to launch in 2024 because that's like my most anticipated game. But that game to me, more than anything, the quality is the most important. Like I'm willing to wait. I just want the wait to be worth it. I don't want to see them rush anything, but that does sound like a pretty stacked year. And then, yeah, The Last of Us 2 remastered, if you want to count that. Because here's the thing, too. Here's another thing to consider. So somebody might think to themselves, oh, man, Wolverine's coming out in 2025, not next year. Telling me Concord might be the only major release from Sony next year? Yeah, it might be. It might be. We don't know yet. But if that's the case, there's something to be said for a showcase that could occur, And I really am, I have this firm belief right now that Sony needs to show, they need to show new games. I think if they show new games next year, and even though they might not be ready to release next year, you get that Wolverine gameplay, you get those new game announcements that people have been waiting for. I think people will be much, much more forgiving if Sony doesn't have the strongest first party output next year. Because at that point, it's like, okay, well, you got a ton of partner studios, you're keeping us well fed, and you got a couple of first party things, but we have a roadmap now. We know what to look forward to. We know what to expect. I think that if you combine all these things together, it could create actually a much, much better year for PlayStation in 2024 than even what we saw this year. Yeah, I agree. Don't sleep on Helldivers. I'm extremely excited for Helldivers, man. I really want to know how Sony's first proper live service attempt is going to be. I know it's not from their own studio, it's from Arrowhead, but I'm still very interested. Very much interested to see how it's going to play out because I don't think it's going to flop or anything. I think it'll do decently well, but I'm just kind of wondering more along the lines of if it can actually get to that next level. You know what I mean? That Sony's really hoping some of these live service games can get to. You're lukewarm on Helldivers. I think it's going to have to win people over. GTA 6 has everyone excited. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that as well. Helldivers is probably going to be pretty niche. I agree with that. When I say Helldivers like getting to that next level, I don't mean like Helldivers is going to be the next Fortnite. Nothing like that. No, 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 certainly not. But I just mean I wonder if Helldivers can be like a pleasant surprise for PlayStation in 2024. You know, where it's a game that comes out, it does better than people were expecting. It is a better game than people were expecting. Maybe the player base is um, pretty strong. That would be great. I just don't want to see it flop or anything. I don't think it will flop. Again, it's like priced at $40, which I think is smart. It's a very smart move on their part. If they went higher than $30 or $40, I mean, I think it would have been questionable for a lot of people. Um, but yeah, getting back to Wolverine here, it's not like I don't think it's surprising that it's targeting 2025. Some other aspects that we're learning here from this leak, we're learning about the setting of the game, or at least one of the settings, Madripoor. Again, this is a fictional city in the Marvel Universe located in Southeast Asia, and it's described as a haven for pirates and criminals. This actually does get me excited. Like I'm not too familiar with this location, but this does get me excited because it's already leaning into, okay, this is going to be, it sounds like a not great place. For pirates and criminals, it just sounds like a violent place. So I automatically assume that it's going to lead to a lot of different encounters and a lot of, you know, saying you hope it's not going to be generic. Well, from what I can tell, the reaction that I've seen from Marvel fans based on this leak, saying Shang-Chi went there. Did they? I saw that movie. I don't recall. You're probably right, though. Um, from what I've gathered from Marvel fans who are reacting to this leak, a lot of people are really excited about it being set in Madripoor, and they feel like it's going to be a good setting for this game. Saying it seems a bit generic for you, the fact. Richard Rodriguez with a $2 super chat. Appreciate that, buddy. You're saying so many 2024 exclusives, then 25, 26 is PlayStation Studios. Yeah, Richard, that's kind of how I'm starting to feel about it as well. I think that might prove to be an accurate assessment of Sony in the next couple of years. Basically, 2024 is going to just be focused on general PlayStation exclusives that are not releasing on other consoles or other platforms. So again, like the player base will be well fed in that sense. But 2024 is likely also going to set up the this rumored phase 2 of the PS5 that everybody's been waiting for, right? Where it's like Sony got off to such a strong start this gen, and they just were very extremely consistent, and things have slowed down quite a bit. Maybe they're just kind of regrouping. Next year's the year where it's like, let's lay out that roadmap again. And like you're saying, 2025, 2026, big years for PlayStation. I have no doubt about it. Capono says, let's leave PS4 behind. I mean, I agree. We have to at this point. Although I will say it wouldn't shock me entirely if at least one or two of these future live service games we end up releasing on PS4. I wouldn't be totally surprised where it's like PC, PS5, and PS4, but hopefully that doesn't happen, because it would be so bizarre to see like a game come out in 2025 and it's releasing on PS4 as well. It's like, what? Guys, we got to move on here, man. We got to move on. I mean, another reason we'd have to move on, like the PS5 Pro is going to be out. By the way, really quick, guys, before I continue this conversation, I have two questions. Question number one: how is the stream performing? Is there any lag? Because I keep seeing a couple hiccups on my end, and I'm just wondering if it's coming through on your end. This is a recurring problem. They're like very minor from what I see. I can't seem to pinpoint what's causing that. It just seems like there's like a dropped frame occasionally. Everybody's saying it's good. Okay, the only other question I have is, how is the actual camera quality? I had a malfunction yesterday with my camera software, and it looked pretty bad. But I since fixed it, so it should look better today. I look beautiful as ever. Thank you for that, Broccoli Rob. How kind of you. All right, you guys are saying it's all good? Good stuff. Just wanted to do that check-in. All right. Boss's fault as usual. Yeah, it's always Boss's fault. Dude, I swear, Boss, he's I'm sure you see he sleeps through these streams, right? He sleeps through these streams. Dude, at night when I'm sleeping, he's doing like weird stuff, man. He wakes me up frequently. That's probably why I got bags under my eyes. He's waking me up frequently. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm always getting like, he's giving me anxiety, making me think that he's gonna just destroy something, you know? And I hear him again, just kind of like rummaging through stuff and jumping on things, and I guess because I'm like waking up in the middle of the night, I can't see anything. I'm just like, what the hell is this cat doing? Just sitting there, terrified, waiting for something to get destroyed any minute. Does he go outside? No, he's not an outside cat. He's fully domesticated. Anyway, getting back to Wolverine. So here's something else I wanted to mention about this game. And we're learning about the setting Madripoor. It's possible that this could be the only setting of the game, but Jeff Grubb did report a while ago that Wolverine is not going to be an open world game. It's going to be a wide open game, or a wide linear game, I mean, is what I mean to say. A wide linear game is similar to like what we see with titles like God of War Ragnarok, where it is ultimately linear, but you have areas that have exploration. You know, they're more open, and you can kind of wander around, discover things. So it's just this kind of in between being a full blown open world game where you can go anywhere at any moment, and being just a straight narrow path on the rails linear game. And it's really interesting to me to think about that, because I do think that is probably the best way to handle Wolverine. It would be interesting if they tried to go full-blown open world, and they still could. Again, we do have to understand that everything we hear about this game is rumor. Insomniac has not confirmed whether or not it's going to be, whether it's going to be full-blown open world or, wide linear. MBG, give The Last of Us 2 another chance. I mean, I don't know. I will say it's tempting just because it's like $10 upgrade, maybe. Right now, I feel like I have no intention of doing so. But then again, I'm gonna be playing Lies of P. I'm gonna be starting that very, very soon. And I don't know how long that's gonna take me to complete. I'm assuming, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'll still be playing Lies of P by the time I get into 2024. It is coming out in January. I don't know, man. You know what it is? The thing that's really stopping me is I just didn't enjoy the Abby segments. That's all. I did enjoy the sections where you played as Ellie, and there are many parts of that game that I did enjoy, but it's just knowing that I would kind of have to go through all of those motions again. I think that's kind of what's preventing me. But I don't know. I won't lie to you. I do wonder, because it has been a long time since I played it. I played it one time. Yeah, I have some PTSD from the Abby segments. I played The Last of Us Part 2 one time in 2020, and I haven't touched it since. After those credits rolled, I never looked back really, except to just kind of reflect on it and talk about it, but I never went back and played it. I guess is what I mean to say. But I do miss the gameplay. I won't lie. I do miss the gameplay of The Last of Us. Dude, it kills me knowing that there's just a full-blown Last of Us multiplayer game just sitting there on like Naughty Dog's servers and hard drives, or it's just sitting there with nobody playing it. They probably have all these different mechanics. They probably have all these different. It's probably like nearly complete. I need Last of Us 2 therapy. And I know they're still working on it, and I know I'm talking about it like it's canceled. It's not canceled. It has not been canceled, and a developer confirmed they're still working on it. I just wish we didn't have to continue to wait so long to just see the game, because I will say, man, like Naughty Dog's gameplay in The Last of Us Part 2 is phenomenal. I mean, it really is immaculate, and that's one thing that I did thoroughly enjoy with my playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2. Putting the story aside, the gameplay is, in my opinion, I don't want to say it's on another level, but it has like a weight to it and a level of intensity to it that just I don't think I've really experienced in any other game, or certainly not many other games. So I don't know, man. Right now, it's not on the docket. It's not on the docket. If that changes, I'll let you know. But I'll be interested to hear from you guys. I know, that's the thing is, even though there's a lot of people not interested in The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, I've seen quite a few of you guys letting me know that you are looking forward to it. You're going to pay that $10 upgrade fee and enjoy the extra content. I'll be interested to hear from you guys when that happens. Like, let me know how good the upgrade is, the game modes. Let me see here. We got N35T0909. I don't know if I'm reading that name correctly, but a member for 6 months, which I appreciate, buddy. You're saying, I know you don't like people to know your account, but Members Lounge would be fun if we can do versus and fighting games. That would be fun. Yeah, I'll have to. I've been thinking about it, and I'm not going to commit to anything yet, because I don't want to like say I'm going to do something that I'm going to end up not doing. But it's definitely a thought I've had. It's definitely something I've considered. You're saying it's Nesto. Okay. My bad. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't feel too bad for not putting that together. Okay, the 5 really threw me off there. The 3 and the 5 really threw me off. But Nesto 909, I appreciate you letting me know that's how you actually say it. But yeah, I will consider that. I think that's like a natural progressive thing we're gonna end up doing. You're saying no, keep your privacy, MBG. Look, it's not that serious at the end of the day, It's just one of these things where I just have to ease into these things. I'm when it comes to playing games, I am like a pretty private person. I just play games and enjoy them on my own. And anytime I play multiplayer, I just play with people I know. So it's not that I'm opposed to doing it. It's just it's going to take a little bit of time to build up to that. And that's something I did think about when we heard that Sony was going to be going all in with live service games. I thought, okay, well, I'm probably going to play many of these games. I don't know if I'll love these games, but I will play them and try them and give them a chance. And some of them end up being really good. Like Helldivers is the first one. The idea of playing some Helldivers with some members in the members lounge or something would be pretty cool. So it's something I'll consider, certainly. Again, it feels like just kind of a naturally progressive thing that we're making our way towards. You're saying fighting games. Fighting games would be funny, man. That would be funny. Because either I'm gonna whoop my members' asses, I guess. I'm gonna whoop multiple members' asses, or they're gonna whoop my ass. It'd be pretty funny either way. MBG is weirdly unsuited for this gig. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe I am. But hey, things change, right? Collective ass. There you go. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You're saying you saw some Xbot YouTuber claim that Microsoft surpassed Sony in revenue for the first time. Dude, listen, I people were bringing this up yesterday, and you're saying I could always use a sock account. Yeah, I'd probably do that, just to kind of keep that barrier maybe. But we'll see. But yeah, I saw people mentioning this yesterday, and I really don't know what to say to these guys at this point, because it's clear that, like, as long as it's something good for Microsoft, they'll cheer it on. The amount of people that probably made fun of, like, PlayStation people for talking about sales numbers or talking about the PlayStation business, right? Like, from the business side. The amount of these people that probably said things like, "Wow, you care more about sales, or you just care about Sony, like, why do you care so much about Sony's revenue and Sony's money?" Some of them certainly are now cheering on the fact that Xbox, I don't even know if it's true, but yeah, I've been seeing this go around that, like, oh, Xbox might make more revenue than Sony. It's like, I thought you didn't care about those things. I thought it didn't matter. And it's just like, I'm not saying that's everybody. It's a select few groups of people, of course, but I don't know. I mean, that's the thing, is all I know is this: Sony makes a lot of revenue, and now Microsoft is going to make a lot of revenue. I don't care who the revenue leader is. Like, I never cared about that. It's important for Sony, of course, in the sense of remaining competitive and for them market share and stuff, but it's like the way in which Microsoft is now going to be a revenue leader is like, wow, yeah, you did it. $80 billion later. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just not sure what there is to celebrate there. That's all. Like, that's all I'm saying. I just don't like, what is celebratory about this? It's significant. Like, oh wow, look at that. Yeah, that's pretty significant. But what is there to celebrate? It's very strange to me. I don't. The bigger Microsoft gets in this regard, like, I mean, I honestly am beginning to think the more likely they are eventually to become a third party publisher. Not, I don't say that in a bad way. I'm just saying it just, you can only really gobble up so much in this industry when it comes to IP, studios, other companies, until eventually it's just like, you got to just, if you become a third party publisher, you will be potentially the most powerful third party publisher in this industry. I think sometimes people lose sight of that is kind of a direction, to an extent anyway, that Microsoft is headed in. Again, I think that's a pretty, I don't say it's a bad thing. I don't say it's a great thing. It's an interesting thing that could potentially be good. MBG, we're going to throw down on Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Tekken, or Soul Calibur. Corey, if I were to choose from those games, I would definitely choose Tekken. Dude, I haven't played Tekken in years though, but Tekken would be my go-to. I've always enjoyed Tekken. I'm probably going to play Tekken 8. Yeah. So we'll see, Corey. We'll see. Fighting games scare me. I did surprise myself with Mortal Kombat though. Like, when I went to go play Mortal Kombat and I went to play some online matches, I really was expecting to just get my ass, like, brutally handed to me, man. Like, just not stand a chance. And there were some rounds where it was like that, but I don't know. I actually won more rounds than I expected to, and I went on like a streak at least once or twice. I was like, oh, Jake, you're saying off to work. Good stream. Well, appreciate you stopping by, Jake. Hope you have a good work day. Always appreciate the support, buddy. But you're saying, Sony spends money to be number one in revenue, so what's wrong with Microsoft doing the same? Daryl, that's the thing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with Microsoft. You have to spend money to make money. Absolutely. I'm saying what's there to celebrate. Like, dude, I I'm only speaking for myself. I've never celebrated the fact that Sony was number one in revenue. Like, yes, this is like this is amazing. I've talked about how it's impressive and how when people I to be honest, the only times I've really spoken about Sony's revenue is A, when their financials come out and we need to see how they're doing, and B, when people try to make it seem like Sony is some kind of like PlayStation is some kind of sinking ship. It's like, well, there's numbers right there that kind of show you that's not true at all, like objectively. But here's the thing: this is also objective, and this is a fact. I'm the thing. So when it comes to the PlayStation business side of things, the thing I'm worried about for Sony, and it's something they are obviously worried about, but I'm worried about this because of how it may impact future PlayStation titles and future PlayStation business decisions, is Sony is struggling with profitability. They're still making profit, but the profit percentage is shrinking and the revenue isn't necessarily shrinking. And so they're in this like kind of situation where they're making more and more money, but they're like only able to keep a certain amount of it. They're not able to keep as much. They're losing most of it. It's just money that comes in and goes as quickly as it comes in. Um, and the reason why I care about that is just simply because Sony made it clear that that is their main priority, and they're focused on trying to bring that number up, and we're definitely going to feel that, as the player base, and that doesn't mean it'll be a bad thing. It depends on how they handle it, but it's something that they're pursuing. You're saying Sony isn't actually doing as bad profit wise as it seems. I don't. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they're doing bad. It's just that it's going down, and I see. You're saying MBG with profitability, you need to take into account the COVID boom. Yes, that's another thing as well. Yeah, I mean, it seems like ever since the pandemic ended, at least in the gaming sector, things have just been kind of going down and down and down, and I think it might just be the industry trying to correct itself, if I had to guess. I like MBG, but I'll never understand his interest in console sales. It's mainly just an interest, just to see like where's it going, how successful is it going to be. I mean, it doesn't impact my enjoyment at the end of the day, nor should it. Richard Rodriguez, I apologize, man. I missed your $2 super chat here. You're saying, speaking of 2025 and 26, I don't know, MBG. MGS Delta looks weak, man. You think so? Well, what about it looks weak to you, though? What about MGS Delta looks weak to you? Is it because they changed the art style and the color palette? I mean, for me, Richard, I think it looks really good. The color scheme looks too cheesy. Now, when you say cheesy, do you mean it literally looks like too yellowish? I'm just kidding. Um, I I get what you're saying. Like this is something that people have been complaining about ever since Metal Gear Delta was revealed, it or at least the gameplay of it. It wasn't even really it was like small little snippets of gameplay. People were complaining that like they changed the overall art direction, art style too much. And you think it looks interesting. You're saying you think it looks too colorful, like you're playing an M-rated Kena Bridge of Spirits. Interesting take, man. I do disagree, Richard. I don't get that feeling at all. But I guess I could kind of understand where you're coming from. Like maybe you feel like they have to desaturate the colors a little bit. But from what I can tell, it looks like they're just trying to go for realism. That's my read on it. My read on it is that they're trading in the color that kind like Metal Gear Solid 3 had kind of a hazy greenish tint to it, and it worked really well. But I think the reason why it's not there now is because we're just the graphical technology has improved so vastly that they don't need. Yeah, they and on yeah, it's mostly a color grading. They could probably just add a filter, you know. A Demon Souls actually did that. The Demon Souls remake, they added a bunch of filters to it, which was really cool. So they could easily do something like that. But I think it looks good. I like that they're doing this. I know not every Metal Gear Solid fan agrees, but I personally think it's looking really good. Because I guess it's what I expected. I did expect them to lean more in the photorealistic look, and the lighting looks really good. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. And something I also really like about Delta that was teased is they took some of the Metal Gear Solid 5 animations and incorporated them into this game. And that's a genius move on their part, because it's like, yes, Metal Gear Solid 5 had some amazing animation work, very smooth, felt very good. So if you add that into MGS3, I think that's a winning formula. But to get back on track here, because I definitely got sidetracked, um, I want to talk a little bit more about Wolverine before I'm completely finished with this topic. And the last thing that I wanted to mention about Wolverine, and it's reiterated here once again by this leaker, Daniel RPK, who again, Daniel RPK has a good track record. He is considered a reliable leaker. He says that the game is going to be darker and it's going to be violent. Um, I'm just glad to hear this again. I know that this has been confirmed, but it's just nice that as the years go by, on occasion we keep getting these like little leaks that come out about this game. But something that continues to be reiterated is that Wolverine is going to be a darker game. It is going to be a violent game. And I don't know if you could, I'm sure many of you could tell, but I put in my thumbnail, an image from Logan, the movie Logan, because look, I'm not saying I expect this version of Wolverine to be like old and kind of run down. No, I'm not expecting that, because it's the first game. We're not at the old man Logan arc yet. We shouldn't be anyway. But the thing about Logan that was awesome is it was it was rated R. It was extremely um violent, not for the sake of violence, but it had the perfect amount of violence that matched this Logan's character, and it was just more grounded, and it was just a much more grounded, much more gritty, much more realistic version of Wolverine and Logan, more than we've ever seen before, I think, outside of the comics. And I don't see, that's my question, is I want to know if this dark and violent tone that they're going for, if it's going to be like, how similar is it going to be to Logan? Because if they say like it's pretty much going to be just like Logan, I'm going to be fucking thrilled, because that, like, Logan was incredible, and I just think that the tone of that movie matched Wolverine. It was just perfect. It was the perfect Wolverine movie. And I'm not saying they should just copy like it beat for beat, but they really should try to, if you compare something like Logan to X-Men Origins Wolverine, it's like night and day. X-Men Origins Wolverine had some pretty decent moments, with the Wolverine rage and Sabretooth and whatnot, but it lacked that kind of grit needed, that real kind of grounded, was still very much, I don't know, light in that sense. You're saying you want Logan to basically run from where the boys have taken go. And it's like, look, I don't want it to just, I'm not even saying I just want it to be like gory, right? Like, I want to see Wolverine, like, rip people's intestines out and dangle them over his head with his claws. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I just don't want it to seem like they're holding back. Like one of the things that I really enjoyed about Logan as well is that like it wasn't that they weren't afraid to just lean into like this kind of, like Logan is just a kind of I mean, he's always kind of been an asshole, but they just really made it like it just was a very realistic interpretation, I think, of the character. Like one that was truly believable because I feel like I've seen, the X-Men movies and I've seen and Wolverine was always my favorite character, but I always just kind of got this sense that like, they're trying to take this like really savage dude who is just has extremely violent tendencies and every time he's like, integrated with the X-Men or whatever, you could just tell he has to kind of hold back. And I think that's just why I loved Logan so much. It was because it was like this isn't yeah, raw would be I think that's a good way to describe it. Cuz it wasn't like X-Men Origins where it was like cheesy, like you want to talk about cheesy. Now that movie was cheesy in a lot of ways. Again, I did enjoy it. I think it gets a little bit too much hate, but it was cheesy. Um so yeah, that's something that's really important to me and Logan will be a misunderstood cuddly hairy bear. Well, I do want there to be character depth as well. I want to make that clear. Like, I don't want them to treat Logan like just a one. That's because that's the thing is in the Logan movie, it, he did still have depth to his character. It's just it truly was like kind of buried, and that's what I think that's always what makes characters like Logan interesting is that they have all of these negative traits and these destructive tendencies. But that like there is something there. Even if it's deep down, it's there. And of course if you've watched Logan, you know that. And I do expect that to be there, certainly. With you're saying character writing and development is not Insomniac's strong suit. Spider-Man 2 showed that clearly. Well, it's worth noting, Anthony, that they have a completely different writing staff on Wolverine. And one of the writers, I think the lead writer, actually wrote Spec Ops: The Line. We mentioned this yesterday, but it's worth mentioning here again today. Obviously, Spec Ops: The Line is known for being incredibly well written, video game, something that deals with heavy subject matter extremely well. And it's a very violent video game. So it's like this gives me a lot of hope, you know? So the Spider-Man 2 writing team is not, I would assume, in no capacity working on Wolverine. It's like a completely, I mean, even the director of Spider-Man 2, the way he talked about it, um, he keeps talking about Wolverine, like let that team cook, let that team do what they're doing. Like it's very clear there's a clear separation. It's not saying that devs who are working on Spider-Man or finished up Spider-Man 2, like they are moving on to work on Wolverine. I guess I'm talking about from like the higher up, like from you know, the people who are in charge of what the game's going to be, what the story's going to be. They're not just bringing new people on to just suddenly change shit up. They would only ever do that if things weren't working out. But when it comes to like development, the development side of things, like yeah, animators, artists, all that stuff, they're moving over. They've been moving over to work on Wolverine, obviously, because they can use all the help they can get. Logan will be having a talk therapy session at a tea party. That would actually be pretty funny. That'd be pretty funny to see. Yeah, dude, I'm super stoked for the Wolverine. I mean, I was about to call it a Wolverine movie, but Deadpool 3. I love that Hugh Jackman's back as Wolverine, and that he's going to be part of the Marvel universe. I don't really care about the Marvel universe at this point. Like they lost me, but I will tell you, them bringing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine definitely brought me back as well. Where like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the Deadpool movie. I heard that the Secret Wars Avengers movie is gonna star Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I'm like, what? Richard Rodriguez, again, you're saying Apple X PlayStation partnership, book it. read my last comment. I think I'm sorry, man. Your last comment's probably too far gone, but I could see it happening. I could. I mean, we've talked about this before. We've talked about the direction that the industry's going in. Sony might decide that the best thing for them to do would be to, yeah, kind of partner up with partner up with Apple and see if they can get something going. But I just don't know. Again, I don't know what that would look like. I don't know what the details would look like. You're saying Hugh Jackman is like the complete opposite of what Wolverine is supposed to look like. Just from a height perspective, I think. From a height perspective. I mean, the thing that's always been pretty awkward about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is he's very tall. I think Hugh Jackman's like 6'2" or something. And Wolverine, he's like literally a foot taller than Wolverine. It's supposed to be. And I think they tried to handle that in the movies, but I think they just said, screw it. Like, we can't really do anything about it, you know? I mean, look, to me, that's kind of like a more, if they want to make Wolverine a little bit taller in like the game, like he's like 5'7" or 5'8", I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, how dare they. It is what it is, man. It would be, dude, if they make him 5'3" though, that would be pretty cool to just kind of stay that accurate to the comics. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I see Starscream says 19 inches again, or dude, okay, Corey, I'm going to read your super chat in just a moment, but did you guys see the PlayStation UK post for PSVR 2? They did it again. Dude. Their post said, do you like busting? Like, are you kidding me? And it went viral. Dude, they're leaning into the sexual marketing. And that's literally what they said. I'm not even kidding. No, I'm going to bring it up here again just to make sure see if they edited it or not. Where are they at? I'm curious to see how many more views it got. 20 million views. Oh, wait, my bad. It's even worse. Does busting make you feel good? Dude, I'm not kidding you. That's how their tweet starts. Does busting make you feel good? ? How about charting the depths of deep space or coming through firefights unscathed? 20 million views, bro. Amazing. They're doing it. Dude, does busting make you feel good? Dude, I'm gonna legit put that on a shirt and like as a quote, and then underneath it, PlayStation UK, PlayStation 2023. Does busting make you feel good? What does that even mean, dude? Like, I'm trying to understand what that even means in the context of PlayStation VR 2. Is it? Oh, it is because of the Ghostbusters. Oh man, I missed. That's amazing. I cannot believe they actually decided they're going to lean into this marketing. Does busting make you feel good? You said, is that from the movie? Does busting? It's amazing. It was set in the OG movie. Oh my god, you're right. So, okay, that's where the major disconnect came from for me, because I just watched the actual video, and yeah, they're promoting Ghostbusters. Oh, that's clever. That's super clever. Good stuff, man. You know what? Because when I read that, I was like, dude, how are they not getting fired for this? But now it makes sense. Like, they're like, yeah, I can use this. We're talking about a Ghostbusters game. It's the official line in the song. What do you want me to do? That's amazing, dude. That is amazing marketing right there. Corey, I'm sorry to keep you waiting with your super chat, bud. You're saying with Metal Gear Delta, I'm hoping the requirements for camo manipulation will also be upgraded as visually as the environments. Yeah, that's a. I didn't even think of that. They did show the one camo in that image. It's like the red and it almost looks like brick camo. I don't know what you would call it. I forget what they call it in the game, but he wears it at that one area where it's like a red brick, I guess like warehouse or something where Sokolov's being held. And they showed that, and there's way more detail on the on the on the fatigues. I guess it would be like an urban, yeah, like almost like I guess like what was that the red one is like Russian. It looked a little bit different though than just urban camo. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Corey. I think that they need to make sure that the camo obviously doesn't stick out like a sore thumb because it's like not blending with the actual environments. Um, that one image though that they showed where he is wearing the camo when he's leaning up against the wall, that's the one that got me the most excited because it just kind of like made me realize, man, they are going, and I like this, like they're going all in with taking the graphical fidelity to level 11 with this. And again, I know people talk about like art style and we got to keep it the way it is and we can't change it, and I get that, but I like what they're doing here, man. I want to see like this photo realistic version, modern day Unreal Engine 5 graphics being pushed as far as it can go, Metal Gear Solid 3. Um if it ends up not translating as well as I thought, that would suck, like, but it kind of reminds me of Demon Souls. Like people were complaining about Demon Souls and they said that like Blue Point took too many liberties and they changed the art style too much and they changed some of the um some of the decisions art style wise that From made, and like I saw what people were pointing out and I'm like, yeah, I see the differences and I see the charm. I do. I see the charm of the original, but at the same time it's like when you look at the changes they made, it's like it actually makes complete sense, and it doesn't look bad. And that's what I don't know. I think sometimes people feel that with these older games during like the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 era, I think people are now becoming more aware of the fact that one of the ways that these game developers kind of were able to make their games more visually appealing without just, you know, because you can only make them look so realistic is through art style. And we still see that today. But I think I will say there maybe is a question to be asked here. Is the is the way photorealistic graphics are progressing each generation, is it beginning to kind of erode the need? And I specifically want to say the need because it can always be a decision, but the need for more creative art styles. I think the answer to that's probably yes. I do. I do think that it is removing that need because it's like, well, why would we, why would we? It's like, again, looking at Metal Gear Solid 3, the environments they show look like they look real. They look like real environments. Like this, it doesn't, like you could probably show a screenshot of the jungle that they showed in MGS3 Delta and ask somebody, is this real or a game? And they would probably have trouble telling you, like they'd have to look very closely. To whereas if you take those photorealistic graphics and then you put, certain artistic, again, like that kind of green haze look on it, it's immediately going to look more video gamey. And I understand the appeal of that. I do, but I guess it's just the fact that how do let me ask you guys, how do you feel about Resident Evil 4 remake? in terms of, how it looks artistically compared to the original game. Steve, you think it looks great? You like the style of RE4? You think it's an improvement? See, that's the thing is like from what I've played of Resident Evil 4 remake, I mean I played the whole game, but I guess I should say from what I remember playing it, the one thing that stood out to me is that like the game is just it is more colorful, you know? If you go back to Resident Evil 4, the original game, it's extremely muted. I mean, it's like the most brown video game you'd ever play. And I think that some people felt I didn't see many people, but some people felt like the fact that they added more color to the remake kind of takes away from that from something that made that game stand out in a way. And I understand again, that's another yeah, it was a product of the time, 2005. All games were trying to go for that muted look. And I understand that because it's like the art style, the art direction of a game is part of its identity. So I understand that when you change that, you are changing a part of its identity. But I but that's the thing is like that's why I feel like if you're gonna that's the difference between a remaster and a remake. You know what I mean? Like a remake, I feel like is allowed to do that. It is allowed to make changes like that if it believes it's going to, lead to a potentially a better product or a better experience. Now I don't know, that's the thing. I don't know that them making Resident Evil 4 remake a little bit more colorful made it a better experience, but it made it more realistic, you know? It did. It the just the overall color palette was just dramatically different. Not it's almost like a night and day difference if you look at them side to side. And I do think it was a better game for that because it would look strange. I think for a game like Resident Evil 4 remake, that's again it has this kind of realistic. It's trying to go for a realistic look. Somewhat close to photorealism, if not just straight up photorealism. And it would look bizarre if it's like we're just gonna stick with that art style. Because if you go back to Resident Evil 4 2005, it's not photorealistic in the least. It's very much like, oh yep, that's a PS2 era, GameCube era video game. And so I guess I just feel like I'm beginning to think that photorealism and unique art styles don't really well, I don't say they don't mesh because I think about like Horizon Forbidden West, right? Like Horizon has a pretty unique, I don't say old, like super unique, but it definitely has like a standout art style, you know? It does, but it also goes for that photorealism. But I think because of that, the art style itself kind of takes away a little bit of the photorealism. Where like it makes it a little bit less realistic because and it makes it look a little bit more fantastical, but that's by design. So I don't know. It's just an interesting conversation, different art styles, how they create the identity of a game. Um, like I'm trying to think with something like Horizon Forbidden West, if they kept a totally realistic color palette, and they kept a super realistic art style that was true to real life, would it take away from that game? I think to a degree it would. I think it would make it pop a lot less, and people would notice that. One of the things that people do gravitate towards with the Horizon games is the fact that it has this very like the graphics look stunning, but it's not just because of how photorealistic it is. It's because it just kind of has this extra pop to it that almost looks again a little bit fantastical at times. Yeah, Red Dead 2 is a really good example of a game that just, you know, trying to be as close to real life as possible. Where there's nothing in that game that, it's that's the thing is it's like it's almost like it has an art style by not having an art style in a way. Where it's just, well, what color do we want this to look like? Well, we want it to look like what it would, the real world. So I don't know. Yeah, that's true as well. An even better example, Ghost of Tsushima wouldn't look nearly as good with the realistic color palette. That is true. That is true. It is funny to think how even the color palettes and the color grading, it makes such a huge difference in how you perceive a world, the lens you see it through. So it'll be interesting to see if they make any changes to Metal Gear Solid Delta. But I wonder, speaking of art styles, I wonder what the art style of Wolverine's going to be. I wonder if it's going to be as I'm expecting the art style of Wolverine to be darker, like not saying it'll have mute colors, but I do you're saying the color palette isn't about art style. Color palettes are about art direction. Okay. Okay. Well, with Wolverine in particular, I expect it to be similar to an extent to like what we have seen with Spider-Man, but Spider-Man to me is it's very much like it's a bright game, you know. Saying Madripoor is a lot of neon. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So so Wolverine's art style is going to be neon, huh? That could be pretty cool. That could be pretty cool. What's funny is I've seen people create like gameplay concepts of Wolverine, right? Um and I think I've like featured some of their videos on my channel sometimes. And everybody seems to have this idea that the bar, like they're kind of coming up with, what is outside that bar that Logan was sitting in. And everybody seems to think it's like some kind of like wooded area, you know, um, like kind of a place where it's a little bit I'll say like barren, but just kind of open and woodsy and whatnot. And it's so funny to me to think that, yeah, almost like New Mexico or something. And it's yeah, Canada. Wait, is it confirmed in the trailer that he's in Canada? Does it say it somewhere in the bar? I think you're right, actually. I remember there was like a bunch of different teases. Maybe because maybe that would explain why everybody when they're doing their gameplay concepts. That's funny to think if that's true though. You're expecting a Blade Runnerish type feel for the night sequences. Hmm. Yeah, I could see that too. I could definitely see that. I'm really excited, man. Look. I'm at a point where I'm totally fine with. Yeah, it looked like lumberjack Wolverine. I'm at a point where, what if it's New York, dude? That's what a lot of people were saying. Like, yo, you're gonna be playing as Wolverine in Marvel's New York, right? I'm like, that would just be straight up stupid. That would be very stupid. But no, that's not gonna happen. What I will say is, I'm at a point with Wolverine for PS5 where it's totally fine if they're not going to release it next year. It's going to be a 2025 game, but I really am just excited. Like, Sony, please make sure you show this game at your next showcase. Like, not just like a short little trailer, but like something, like a 3-minute trailer or more of Wolverine. I really want to see this game. No rush, but it's just that I want to see it sometime next year and I'll be satisfied because again, my expectations for Wolverine are very high, and I fully expect that when we finally see this game for the first time, it's going to like really kind of blow us away, you know? At least that's my expectation. I don't know. Am I getting my expectations? People will probably tell me, MBG, you're doing it again, man. You're getting your expectations too high. You're getting your expectations too high, bro. Chill out. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to move on to another topic here. This one is not the main topic of discussion. Obviously, the main topic of discussion today was Wolverine, but this is something that is pretty important to PlayStation Studios. We have a game director of the studio actually departing, which again could potentially be cause for concern, but it's impossible to say. Josh, a member for 3 months, says if the rumors are true and Wolverine is in Madripoor, then it will be like a cyberpunk, wet and neon. It'll look dark, gritty, and violent. Will be very cool if true. Yeah, when somebody mentioned that it's going to be it's going to have that neon look to it. That's actually exactly what came to mind. That like kind of cyberpunkish, you know, that Night City type thing. It'll be really interesting if that's the direction they go in. And people were saying that like Wolverine's gonna end up fighting robots and shit, and I hope not. Like, I mean, it's okay if there's some robots, but I feel like there has to be like, again, there kind of has to just be that real kind of grounded feel to it where the fights should feel. So, look, I'm not. Maybe my expectations are way too high here, but it's like one of the things I liked about The Last of Us games is that the gameplay against humans feels like truly brutal. Like it feels like these are people desperately trying to. I mean, at least when you're playing as Ellie or Abby or Joel, you're desperately trying to survive and kill these people by any means. And granted, I don't expect there to be like a survival feel to it with Wolverine because he's Wolverine, but just this kind of more realistic feel of like, man, when I slice somebody up, like I really feel like I'm fucking slicing them up, not some kind of just like I'm poking them and they're just like, I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, but I just expect there to be some weight to the gameplay. I expect it to not be over the top. Where again, I don't expect Logan or I don't expect the first gameplay segment we see to just be like Wolverine just like decapitating like 5 people at one time. But I do expect to see some limbs flying potentially, and a lot of screaming and just brutality. Again, not necessarily like Mortal Kombat levels where it gets kind of ridiculous, but if they and that's where I'm a little bit nervous that I feel like I might be expecting too much from Insomniac cuz like they're going to go violent, but maybe the level that I'm expecting is too far for them, you know. I just want it to be good, man. That's all. I just want it to be good. That's true, Josh. You're saying he'll just shred through regular people. They got to throw in some formidable foes. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I guess I keep see. Again, I keep thinking about Logan, and I forget that in Logan he was very old and run down, and you know he couldn't really like he was much more vulnerable and susceptible. And I guess I need to realize that that's not the version of Logan and Wolverine we're going to be getting, because he's going to be. I'm assuming he's going to be in his prime. So you are right about that. It can't just be um regular human characters because it's just like you know he'll just rip right through them like tissue paper. God of War style violence. Yeah, yeah, maybe something more akin to that. I think you're right. Not even I'm talking about like the classic God of War games too. Because I'll be honest, man, like I don't know. You could tell with God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, like the level of violence, it's there. It's still pretty brutal at times, but you could tell because Kratos isn't as rage filled anymore. He's just quick and to the point, like just kill him. To whereas I feel like older Kratos was like, I want to kill him, but I want to fucking rip him to pieces as well while I'm doing it. And I feel like that again, that's kind of more in line with I think Logan's character. So, oh yeah, that is true. That's a good call out there. Remember, Wolverine's creative director Brian Horton worked on Tomb Raider 2013. That game is really brutal. That's true, dude. The death animations in that game were insane. Yes, that's a good call out. Anyway, Fabrice Paul, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. You're saying Microsoft just bought OpenAI for $0. 505 of 700 employees signed a letter that if the company doesn't change, they will go work for Microsoft. They're worth $80 billion. Microsoft cannot stop taking W's this year. I saw that trending. I didn't look too much into it, but if what you're describing, if that's actually what happened, wow. That is actually insane. That's kind of difficult to believe. But I did see something trending about OpenAI and something with a CEO. Really quick, let me see here. Um, I thought I saw. Here we go. WCCF Tech says how not to fire a CEO. Microsoft becomes the king of AI after the weekend circus show as OpenAI crumbles from within. So here's just a little bonus topic. A juvenile 4-person board and kids poker are some of the words being used to describe what happened today. The entire social media collectively erupts with hot takes on the power moves that transpired over the weekend, relegating. I don't even know what the hell's being written right now. It says, as we reported on Friday, OpenAI's board of directors fired its then CEO, Sam Altman, with nary a prior notice for not being consistently candid, a deliberately vague charge that immediately set the proverbial tongues wagging on social media. Soon after, OpenAI's president and co-founder Greg Brockman also resigned. This move unleashed a frenzy of discussions between all leading stakeholders, including OpenAI's largest shareholder, Microsoft. For a time on Saturday, it appeared that Altman would return to OpenAI. Their hopes, however, have now been dashed. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has now announced that Sam Altman is joining the tech behemoth as the CEO of an all-new AI-focused unit. Meanwhile, OpenAI replaced its interim CEO, the co-founder of Twitch, with the co-founder of Twitch. While not officially confirmed, it is widely believed that the board was uncomfortable with the increasingly, I don't know, dude, what are the fucking words that this article is using? I don't even know what this word is. I'm even gonna try to say it. Oh wow, this is a whole story. Wow. So yeah, it seems like there is some truth to what you're saying here, man. It seems like some crazy stuff may have happened with OpenAI, and I mean, I'm sure Microsoft's very happy. I mean, that is a W for them, where it's like, what's that? We'll just acquire this massive AI company for $0. Sounds good. You're saying Microsoft stock gained like 1.5 billion value after the hire. Oh my god. See this? Well, that's what I'm saying, man. This is why when we talk about PlayStation and Xbox, Microsoft being Xbox's parent company, dude, Sony is just not operating on the same level as Microsoft is. You know, Sony is a very, very, very large company, but Microsoft, I don't want to say Microsoft necessarily dwarfs them, but in a way they kind of do, you know, where it's like it should just kind of reveal to you just how big Microsoft actually is. Um yeah, there really isn't a comparison between the two. And that's why when we talk about like, oh, what should Sony do to combat Microsoft? That's why I'm always very much kind of leaning towards I don't know that Sony should chase Microsoft because they can't do the things that Microsoft is able to do, just due to the sheer size of the company and the sheer amount of capital. And Sony can, like, yeah, Sony, again, they can buy a big publisher if they really want to. If there's a publisher that's willing to sell, they can afford it. But it's like, that's a drop in the bucket for Microsoft. It's not a drop in the bucket for Sony. It's actually a very risky thing for Sony. So, incorporating AI in development process could be really smart. One of the things that Microsoft I think recently announced is that they're going to start doing like incorporating AI for like writing and stuff if their teams want to use it. I don't think people are very happy about that. And I see we have another legend dropping in. I knew I saw Exley in the chat. Exley 3000 drops in and gifts 5 more memberships to the community. Guys, let's get some W's in the chat flowing for Exley 3000. You guys already crushed the goal today, but you're keeping it going. Exley is keeping it going. Bring us up to 33 new members. Just another reminder, we're going to be doing the Members Lounge after the stream. Today's stream will probably be a little bit on the shorter side, but we're going to be heading to the Members Lounge after the stream. So thanks to Exley, 5 more people will be able to join us in the Members Lounge, which is amazing to see. So Exley, thank you so much for your continued support, and everybody who continues to gift memberships. You guys are amazing. I really, really do appreciate it. Let me give you a Venom for that. Why not? Give Venom for that. So Exley, good stuff, my friend. I have a chat here from Josh saying Microsoft owning AI is not good for humanity at all, LOL. Yeah, but it's inevitable, I think, that a company like Microsoft is going to make some major investments in AI. I wonder, I don't know if Sony's going to. It makes more sense. It makes more sense for, I think, a company like Microsoft, considering they are more of a software company. You know, they're involved with many different things. Sony is too, but I don't know. From a game development standpoint, and maybe like a creative standpoint, that's where I feel like it's a little bit more risky for Sony with AI, because people are very nervous about AI from the creative standpoint. Understandably so. Saying AI is bad is going to make work even worse. I don't know. Truthfully, I feel like AI is AI to me is one of those things that it's either something we are greatly underestimating or greatly overestimating. And if I had to lean towards which one we're probably doing, I would say we're probably greatly underestimating AI. You know, I do think AI could be something that, not to sound dramatic, it's going to sound dramatic, but I do believe it. I think AI could easily lead to the extinction of the human race, or at least partially, in the long run, where it will turn into something that, again, we thought we could control, but we can't. But then again, human beings did create nuclear weapons, and they're everywhere in the world right now, and they could easily make the human race go extinct. And hasn't happened yet. Isn't it kind of crazy how, like, as humanity progresses, we keep like creating these things that are like, yeah, this could end our race. Like this could end the world and this could make us go extinct. Yeah, let's do it. It's just like, well, now it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. It's like if you do any research into if you do any research into like I forget what it's called, like the Great Filter, when it comes to like looking for other life out in space. Like the big question is, how come we don't find any other life out in space? It's so vast, it's so big, shouldn't we see it everywhere? And it's because of something called the Great Filter, where it's like there were millions and billions and trillions of like different civilizations all throughout, you know, all throughout the universe, but there's this major filter. There's like the Great Filter, where every civilization, every race, it hits this filter and they end up destroying themselves. Like there's a good chance that no civilization or race has actually passed that Great Filter, because with intellect, you know, we basically end up destroying ourselves. So I don't know. It's just a really interesting concept, and it wouldn't surprise me if we are now at that point where we're playing with stuff. Yeah, Fermi's paradox. It's all hypotheticals, of course, but it wouldn't surprise me if it turned, because I look around and I'm like, yeah, we have nuclear weapons. We have a level of intellect and an understanding of biology that somebody could create a virus that wipes out everybody, right? We are now messing with AI, which is advancing at an insanely rapid, like a concerning rate. And we fully believe like we can control all of these things. And it's like, well, can we? Like we're just, we're just creating more opportunities to, bring us to our end, which is dark. That's a dark thing to say, but I think it's true to an extent, and I could be wrong. I mean, it just comes down to what you believe. Will humans prevail in the end? Even if there is nuclear war in the future, even if AI does try to like turn against us and it's basically the Terminator. Crazy Arnold's everywhere trying to take us out. Do you believe that we'll survive? We'll persist? Oh man. Great time to throw in a Crazy Arnold there. Dude, I just imagine the Terminator chasing after you making that sound. Oh my god. I think the only way I think the only way the human race, and I'm gonna like backpedal on this conversation. Maybe we'll save it for the members lounge. But I just want to say I think the only way the human race stands a chance of persisting, like in the long run, is we got to figure out how to upload our conscientious minds, our consciousness into the matrix, into something where we can just exist there. And until we figure that out, I just think we're on a conveyor belt that's really slowly taking us to somewhere maybe not, I don't say not great, but just, you know. Anyway, getting really off track here. See what happens when you mention AI? Let me see. We have Michael with a $5 super chat. I really appreciate that, buddy. You're saying Wolverine has a great rogues gallery. Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, Omega Red, and Silver Samurai. That is true. Yeah. I definitely suspect that at least one or two of these characters are going to show up in the game. I do. I wouldn't be surprised if more than two of them show up. I've seen a lot of people saying that they want to see Wolverine fight Hulk, but I don't think that's going to happen, man. I feel like that would be too crazy. Maybe in like the sequel or something. But that would be amazing. Exley says there is nothing to fear. Love is the only truth. All else is illusion. I can agree with that, yeah. Love is the universal language, right? Let me see here. So Michael, yeah, I agree, man. I mean, one of the Silver Samurai would be really interesting. I definitely want to see Sabretooth. I wouldn't be surprised if they save Sabretooth though. I wouldn't be surprised if they save him for like a sequel or something. But Sabretooth would definitely be one I want to see. Omega Red. I'm trying to remember who Omega Red is. Omega Red is a fictional character appearing in American comic books, most commonly in association with the X-Men. A mutant with superhuman strength, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes. He has the wait, what? He has the ability to secrete pheromones. I don't think I'm familiar with Omega Red. Like I when you said the name, I'm like, this sounds familiar. But now that I'm looking at it, Omega Red. It sounds pretty badass. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these characters show up. Sorry, I was just reading a little bit about this character. Um, we have a Sim Particle. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, my friend. You're saying can't wait for mods to rearrange story beats in The Last of Us Part 2 on PC. It won't fix certain things, but it certainly will make the game exponentially better. Big miss for the remaster to not include a director's cut. Um, well, it's worth noting, Sim Particle, that The Last of Us Part 2 hasn't been announced for PC yet. I think obviously it's going to make its way to PC, but I did take note of the fact that they didn't mention it. And also, I just remembered that Horizon Forbidden West is expected to release on PC in what, February or something? Wait, when is Forbidden West coming to PC? It's February, right? Could be wrong about that, but that's I feel like that's what they said. But yeah, if it does make its way to PC, some of the mods we're gonna see for The Last of Us Part 2 are gonna be ridiculous. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But I fully see the reason. If I had to guess, the reason why The Last of Us Part 2 wasn't announced for PC yet is because I think Naughty Dog is probably going to need more time to get it run up and running on PC. Because if the rumor, which I think it is true, the rumor is that Naughty Dog has new hires working on the remaster, then it kind of makes sense where it's like, all right, you guys focus on familiarizing yourself with PS5 development on this remaster, and then once you're complete with that, maybe these new hires can work on porting it to PC or something like that. Or maybe they'll give it to like you know, um Nixus. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing eventually, Sim Particle. And thank you so much for the $10 super chat, my friend. We also have From Scratch Gamer, member for 6 months. Really appreciate the support, bud. You're saying I'm a computer programmer, and with AI, I think you meant to saying you work with AI frequently. It's not what a lot of people think, and not nearly as dangerous as Hollywood makes it seem. Well, that makes me feel better, From Scratch Gamer, and I appreciate you letting me know, because maybe I do base my assumptions on, because I'm not familiar with AI, like I don't work with it or anything. Maybe I am basing my assumptions on AI off of Hollywood interpretations. I mean, I am a big Terminator fan. Um, but yeah, I see the thing that, and I will just say really quick, the thing that is difficult for me to believe is that we could just somehow allow that to happen. Like something where like an AI decides to, I don't know, go rogue or something, like the idea that we would lose control in the long run. Like that's the part that's hard for me to believe, where it's like it's AI, like it's connected to something that we can fucking unplug. You know what I mean? Like as I know that's probably like an oversimplification, but I do believe that like that has to be a thing, right? Right? So it does make me feel better, man, because maybe my assumptions on AI are actually completely wrong. I have uh I have no doubt about that. That's the thing. I just kind of read what some people say about EI, AI, EI, AI. I read what some people have to say about it, and there is definitely some what seems to be fear mongering, but I guess I'm always the type of person where it's like, err on the side of caution. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Better safe than sorry. I'm all for progress and forward momentum, but um I'm also a believer in like nothing has to necessarily be rushed necessarily, doesn't have to be. Is it necessary to rush any of this stuff? I don't think so. But some of the AI art that I come across, man, is like pretty interesting. But the thing that really blows my mind about AI so far, like the thing that I've encountered with AI that has made me kind of go, whoa, is when they take voices of deceased like famous singers and they put their voices over like different versions of songs and it just sounds eerily accurate where it's like, whoa, that's kind of, it's a little bit disturbing, you know? It's very creepy in a way, but also kind of cool. We have Ice Rezo with a $5 super chat, and he says, everyone focus on acquisitions, but don't realize Xbox is so large. It's poaching talent from Sony and Nintendo. Fill advertising autonomy to creators. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's the thing about Microsoft that I think it serves as a pretty big strength for them right now and will likely continue to serve as a big strength for them is Microsoft, Phil Spencer specifically, can continue to advertise complete autonomy. And the reason why he's able to do this is because, again, Microsoft, it has them backed up, man. Like Microsoft has pretty much made it clear to Xbox that you're one of us now. You're at the big boy table and you're going to be taken care of. You're part of the family now, you know? You'll always be taken care of. And so it does kind of allow the teams at Microsoft to operate in a different way. To whereas with Sony, it's not that they don't have that. They definitely do. Sony obviously lets their teams be autonomous to a great extent. We've heard really, really, really good things about PlayStation's management. Now, could that change? Could that be in the process of changing? The answer is yes, it could be. You know, we do have to acknowledge that Jim Ryan is retiring. Connie Booth apparently was fired. But Angie Smets is taking over, and everybody says they love her. Not enough people talking about that. You know, a lot of people want to doom and gloom, but they're not talking about that. And on top of that, you know, you see Boss just raise his head up suddenly because Leia just jumped over here. He's sus. Or no, she's sus. Leia's sus. Boss needs to know what's going on. Dude, I got it. Hold on. Earlier today, Boss and Leia were fighting. And Boss took a massive chunk of hair out of Leia. And it got stuck in his paw. I want to see if it's still there. Sorry, bud. I don't mean to expose you in front of everybody. Okay. No, it's gone now. It was the funniest thing ever. It was just this. It almost looked like a. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just this massive tuft of hair just stuck on his paw, and he was just walking around with it. I'm like, bro, what'd you do to Leia? Anyway, sorry, I got really sidetracked and distracted there by my cat. But yeah, that's the thing, man. Is like. People are, and we're going to talk about this. This is the next thing we're going to talk about is Returnal's director, not Returnal, Housemarque's director leaving pretty suddenly. People are now wondering if he got poached. You know, is he going to go work for Microsoft? Is he going to go work for another, you know, for a competitor? We don't know, but yeah, it is something that Sony does have to always contend with. Sony doesn't want to lose talented developers to the competition. You know, it does make you think about their pivot to live service and, you know, the rumors that some PlayStation studios were unhappy with that pivot and not really satisfied in working on those projects. I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, is that what Housemarque is working on? Is Housemarque, were they tasked with working on a live service game? I don't think so. Well, I'll put it to you this way. If that's what they're working on, I don't think that's why this director left, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why in the future, or not in the future, in a moment. I don't know why am I talking like that? I'm going to tell you in the future, and by future I mean in the next couple of minutes. So Faber Dud with a super chat as well, saying, MBG, so when are we going to get the PS2 Wolverine's Revenge stream in prep for Insomniac Wolverine? PS, I love the new members lounge. You're killing it. Well, thank you so much, man. I'm happy to hear that. I really do hope that channel members end up enjoying this members lounge thing. I'm enjoying it. Dude, I played that game. Wolverine's Revenge. Yes. That was a, you know what? Oh, wow, the memories, bro. I like completely forgot about this game. They used like Hugh Jackman. Yeah, he's on the cover of the game. He's in like his X-Men movie suit, but it pretty much has like nothing to do with the movies. I remember this game, bro. I don't know if I ever beat it though. But I do distinctly remember playing this game. See, I was always a fan of Wolverine. I was always playing the Wolverine games. I don't know that I'm gonna stream it though. I mean, I don't. But yeah, the memories. You know what else was a really good one? It was the Activision Wolverine game. Yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was really, really fun. Dude, I remember when I played that, I was like, this is so much better than it has any right to be. Way better than I expected. So it's amazing, man. Like, this is why I'm telling you guys, like, when I saw the announcement of Wolverine, it really was a dream come true where I'm like, Insomniac, PlayStation, are you kidding me? This is a dream come true here. So thank you, Fawardud, for bringing back those memories, man. We have Richard Rodriguez with another $2 super chat saying, didn't PlayStation just make an AI acquisition also? Did they? To be honest, Sony's been making a bunch of like smaller acquisitions with like things that I don't know, things that have just like I know that they acquired that audio company recently. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. They did. They just acquired the yeah, not for $0, but they acquired something to a company that's involved with AI, but for like I think it's for like their cloud endeavors and video and stuff like that. I didn't look too deeply into it, but yeah, you're right. You're right. So yeah, I guess I should take back what I said earlier when I said I'm not sure if Sony could get involved. They are getting involved. You're right. They are getting involved. You're saying don't tell Alana Pierce Sony did that? What is she like against AI? I'm assuming. That's why you're saying that. Yeah, I mean, it's the early days, man. It's the early days. We're not really going to know the long term. You're saying she'd quit if Sony did? There has to be more context to, right? Like I'm assuming she's a writer at Santa Monica now, I think, right? So she probably just means if they were to hire AI to do writing for them, she'd probably quit, which I wouldn't blame her because that sucks. That I'm assuming I could be wrong, but she was talking about writing and voice actors. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, because that's where it gets really tricky, man. That is where it's like, you know, I would not want to play a game with AI writing in it. That's just because I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. Like if they're like some basic mundane things, like I don't know. Ugh. All right, let me see here. But yeah, thank you for that reminder, Richard. I totally forgot that Sony did just make that acquisition. I think just like a week or two ago. Saying maybe NPC dialogues can be NPC AI generated. I mean, like, yeah, I think about like GTA, for example, where it's like if they create some kind of thing where there's like AI are in charge of just the NPCs that you're just randomly walking by saying random things at certain times, like, okay, I could kind of understand something like that. But when it comes to like anything of substance and meaningful, you know, I definitely just don't think that AI should be involved in that. We'll see. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the gaming space with AI. I think there's going to be um a lot of things coming up in the not too distant future that are going to cause it's going to cause some strife within the industry, and possibly even with developers. So time will tell, man. Time will tell. We also have Arnie Vesper saying, "Old McDonald had a farm. AIAIO." Well, thank you for that, Arnie Vesper. That's a great way for me to say we're gonna stop talking about AI and we're gonna move on. No, thank you for the super chat though, bud. We're gonna move on um I actually want to read to you guys about the situation with Housemark. This is being reported by VGC. It says Harry Kruger, the director of Housemark's acclaimed PS5 exclusive Returnal, has announced he's leaving the studio after 14 years. Announcing the news on the studio's website, Kruger said that the decision to leave was very difficult and that he was confident that the developer's brightest chapter has yet to be written. During my 14 years at Housemark, I've been incredibly fortunate to work on one dream project after another and had the privilege of working alongside some of the truly talented and wonderful people along the way. It's been an honor to accompany Housemark on this journey, witnessing our growth from our smaller arcade-inspired titles to the magnificent heights we reached with Returnal. We really shook the pillars of heaven together, and I will forever be proud of all the amazing things we've accomplished as a studio. Departing from Housemark was a very difficult decision for me, but I'm leaving the company with nothing but deep gratitude for the past and a glowing optimism for the future. With an exciting new project in the works, a fantastic team that's stronger than ever, and the continuous support of Sony and PlayStation Studios, I know that Housemark's brightest chapter has yet to be written. Commenting on the announcement, Housemark General Manager Ilari Kitunen, oh man, I can't pronounce this name. He says, throughout Harry's tenure, we've seen the death of arcade and also achieved growth milestones we once only dreamed of. Harry's passion and direction have been vital in sculpting the studio's trajectory to the current scale. The rebirth of arcade, defined by Returnal, speaks volumes of his impact and vision and is a great point for future leaders to take over and keep improving upon. Housemark has said its next game will be a new intellectual property rather than a sequel, although the title will incorporate ideas and narrative systems originally planned for Returnal. That last part there, that's news to me. This new IP that Housemark is working on will apparently incorporate ideas and narrative systems originally planned for Returnal. So check this out. Let me see. Housemark Battle Royale. So there was this game that Housemark was developing called Storm Divers. Okay. And this game, so I want to talk about this because you're not going to see many people bring this up, but I think it's very important to the conversation. It's obviously a big deal that this man is leaving the studio because he's been there from the beginning, 14 years, and he's the director of the studio. He's at the top of the food chain and he's leaving. He doesn't say why he's leaving, which is, it's one of the, like, because of that, all we're left to do is speculate. Is he leaving on good? It sounds like he's leaving on good terms. It does. I mean, he even speaks very highly about this new project and says that he thinks that the best is yet to come from Housemark. He could just simply be tired and being like, you know what? I made my money. I'm tired. Like the studio's in good hands. I'm out. It could be that. It could be he wants to go somewhere else and do something very different. He could have gotten poached. Um, the timing of it, I'd say, is probably what leads to some concern, where it's like we're hearing that the studio director's leaving during a time of. I mean, there's clearly things again changing internally at Sony, but the thing is, people are now speculating that this is because Housemarque was tasked with making a live service game, and now they're it running into issues, and now the director left. I do not think that has anything to do with it. The reason why I say this is because Housemarque was making an actual battle royale title. Says here this was written up in 2019. Resogun and Next Machina developer Housemarque has admitted Stormdivers, its multiplayer battle royale game currently in beta testing, is unlikely to be a hit. Speaking to VG 24/7, the CEO, Alari Kitunen, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, said competition from games like Apex Legends, as well as being slower to market than rival titles and a lack of funding, means Stormdivers isn't in a strong position to succeed. Stormdivers was pitched internally as far back as 2013, and when Housemarque took the game to external partners, Battle Royale as a genre didn't really exist, but now, with the success of titles like Apex, Fortnite, and PUBG, Housemarque's hand has been forced. The problem is with us is we always have to change our idea. We originally thought that the game would be a premium game, but now it would have to be free to play. And do we have enough content to do that? I don't know, he admitted. We're kind of a bit short of money to fully realize what we want to do as a launch edition of the game. We'll see. Housemarque described Stormdivers as its first gaming experience of a new era after ditching these smaller games that made it successful. After declaring arcade is dead, the studio has been focused on breaking into the AAA space. Stormdivers this was in 2019, currently in a playable beta that runs every 4 to 6 weeks, and its next phase will involve a Chinese partner for the game. And obviously, all that was canceled. It says Stormdivers has a smaller team of around 15 developers. So think about that. They were trying to develop a battle royale game with 15 devs in 2019. So 15 developers. Housemarque has a secret second project with around 60 staff, pinning its hopes on it being a big success. So that was probably Returnal. I think it's actually it's obviously Returnal. So looking back, they teased a secret project where the bulk of their development was going to, and that was clearly their partnership with Sony with a game like Returnal, and which is awesome to actually kind of see this looking back. And it says here that they say the title is currently unannounced, but it does have a big publisher attached. So it just goes to show, man, like looking back at 2019, they had a game that they signed with Sony, was in development for multiple years. The game comes out, Sony likes it so much, they buy these guys. They say maybe next year the game will be announced. And so this is important for me to acknowledge because it's clear that this is not why the director of the studio left. The director of the studio, he was there when they said, let's do a battle royale game. You know, he was there for it, and he was clearly very okay with it. It really just seems like there is some external reason why he decided to leave. And I'm not necessarily worried about this. I do think it is unfortunate because even if he just left because he's just tired and wants to take a long break, that still sucks because he's clearly a very, very, very talented developer, talented director, and that's not, those are big shoes to fill for Housemarque. And I hope they're able to. But he sounds extremely optimistic about the studio's future, about their next game. And so the big question I have about this next game is exactly that. Is it going to be a multiplayer title. Well, I don't know. I mean, I could listen. I could see why Sony would turn to them and say, "Do you guys want to make a live service game or a multiplayer game?" Because we know that you were trying to work on a battle royale. But what makes me nervous about that is that if you look at Housemarque, right? And we just read this article about, they were working on two projects. One was a single player game that we now know was Returnal, and the other was this Storm Divers battle royale. And they were literally out here saying, like, the Storm Divers battle royale, it's not that they weren't saying it's a bad game. They were just saying, like, the competition is probably going to eat us alive. Like, we just don't stand a chance. But something like Returnal is something that other studios are not doing, and they are doing it. So I think it would be a real shame if, and I'm underlining the word if because we have no idea. It would be a real shame if they don't continue to make, like, I don't care if they want to have multiplayer, but there has to be like a major focus on single player. I don't know. That would be a little bit concerning to me just because it's like, well, yeah, it could be a single player game with co-op. They did add co-op to Returnal. But then again, it's like, I don't know. Maybe they want to make a multiplayer game. I don't know. Maybe they want to maybe I mean, here's the thing. If Housemarque at one point was working on a battle royale, that tells you something. It tells you that they wanted to find big success in that multiplayer space. They were pretty sure they weren't going to find it, but they wanted to. Maybe now that they're under Sony and Sony says, "Hey, we're looking to have some successful live service games," maybe internally the studio decided maybe that's what the direction we should go in. So I don't know. Saying Jim Ryan has really messed things up internally. Yeah, it's impossible to say right now, man. I mean, we're all going to come to our own conclusions. Right now, it's all speculation. I wish I could say if it's actually messed up or not. It might, because that's the thing. Like, people, I think, there's no doubt that there was some turmoil. Excuse me, I could speak. There's no doubt. But the question is, how bad was it really? Is it just something that had to be corrected and now it's corrected? Or is it, just some changes that had to be made and they're in the process of making them? Or is it something more serious? Or is it not serious at all? Exactly. None of us know what's going on internally. It's easy to presume the worst. You're saying, like, bro, people are leaving. What the hell? Yeah, but something else we also want to acknowledge is it's not like the director left as soon as they got acquired. You know? It's worth noting that Housemarque has likely been working on this game for multiple years now. So, I don't know. He did this with the blessing of Sony board members. Did he? Listen, I'll just say this to you right now. I'll just say this. This write-up I just read from the director, again, man, he only had very positive things to say. Yeah, he stayed with the studio for 2 years after it got acquired. You know what I bet? Here's my read on this. And maybe this is a glass half full, read on it, but I think he stayed to help get the team's next project up and running off the ground and into full production and development. And he probably decided that, you know what, this game is in full swing. It's in momentum. Everybody knows what they're doing and it's coming together great. And they have the full backing of Sony. Now's my time it's okay. Like, now I can rest. You know what I mean? Now is a great time to exit because now, and it could again. That's a glass half full type mentality because there's always concern when a director leaves mid development, but I don't know. That's just my again. That's my glass half full take. It could be the other way around. It could be that things are not going well development wise, and he's like, you know what, Returnal was a high note, so I'm gonna leave now. It could be that too. I hope that's not what it is. I'll be honest with you, I would be very sad if that's the case because Housemarque is a great studio, man. And my assumption when Housemarque was acquired by Sony, my assumption is they're only going to get better. Yeah, that's true, Capono. Most directors see their projects through though. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could know. I wish I could know because it would tell us a lot. It would tell us a lot. Like if if um if he left under bad terms, that would be bad. It like there's no doubt that that would actually be highly concerning because it's like no way. Like how? Like what could be going wrong? Like they're supposed to be safe under Sony, you know? But I can't I can't come to that conclusion because I just don't know. I just don't know, man. It's not like listen, it's not like it's unprecedented. There have been it may be a little bit more rare, but there have been cases where directors have left studios and projects turn out okay, you know? Um but I don't know. I just feel like I don't have enough insight to be able to gauge. I have this report here. Maybe I don't know, maybe this could be a main topic of discussion for tomorrow. Destiny 2's player count has dropped to an all-time low. I really wonder what Sony's going to do, man. We're going to find out, but man, that situation with Bungie is spooky. Very spooky. Very very spooky. All right, let's see. Now so that's the situation with Housemarque right now. Let me see. I I'm just checking really quick to see if I can get any more information on the situation with Housemarque. Um, I'm not finding anything else. Somebody says that's disappointing. I really liked him. I wonder why he left. Maybe to join a different studio. This person says it could be now that he directed Returnal, his market price probably skyrocketed and he was lured by other big players. So, yeah, I guess I didn't really think of that too. His market price. That's so interesting a thing. Yeah, that it could be that. Like somebody was just like, "You're really talented. Do you want all this money to come work for us?" If the man wanted to raise at Sony, Sony ain't the place to be right now. Yeah, yeah. You're probably right. Probably right. We'll see. I don't know, man. I see. I'm just so conflicted with news like this because on one hand, there is that part of me that thinks, man, this might be pretty bad. You know, like it might be, but on the other hand, it really might not be. And it's just, I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Like, we're going to see Housemarque's new game eventually. And it's either going to be something when we see it that we're like, this looks amazing, let's go. Or we're going to look at it and be like, what happened? And when we see the game, like if we see Housemarque's next game and we're all looking at each other like, what the hell happened? Then we'll know. Like, it'll become clear that like, oh, okay, now we know why he left. But if it's fine and we're excited for it because it looks really good, then it's like, oh, okay, well, Storm Divers come back. Dude, you know what's so crazy to me? Storm Divers sounds exactly like Hell Divers. Replaced by AI. Oh no. Game directors being replaced by AI. We don't want that. We don't want that. All right, let's see here. There's one last topic I wanted to cover with you guys before we move over to the members lounge. And that is Warner Brothers denies that Wonder Woman will be a live service game. I wanted to cover this because we talked recently about this what was supposed to be a single player Wonder Woman game. It was announced a while ago. There was a job listing that mentioned live service elements, and Warner Brothers also mentioned how they're going to be doubling down on live service games. But there was an update here. It says Warner Brothers responded with a statement to IGN denying that it will be a service game. Quote, Wonder Woman is a single-player action-adventure game set in a dynamic open world. This third-person experience will allow players to become Diana and introduce an original story set in the DC universe while also featuring the Nemesis system. Wonder Woman is not being designed as a live service, end quote. That comes directly from a Warner Bros. Spokesperson. So I actually really appreciate, I mean, I don't know that I'm going to care about this game. Not the biggest fan of Wonder Woman, but I'm really glad. I think this is a really smart thing of Warner Brothers to do, to just get in front of this and just nip it in the bud and make it clear it's not a live service game. There's no live service. Like, that's good news because I think that would have completely ruined that game. I will say though, maybe I will be interested in this game because, yeah, I mean, it's not that I have a problem with Wonder Woman. I'm just not a big Wonder Woman fan, but this game could definitely appeal to me. I really am interested that they're using a Nemesis system. That to me is one of the most interesting things about this. So I just wanted to give you guys that small little update there, but guys, in just a couple of minutes here, like momentarily, we're going to be moving over to the members lounge. So I'm just going to make this kind of a last call for anybody who, it's up to you. If you want to gift any more memberships or if you want to become a member, now is the time to do so. We're going to go to the members lounge in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to be setting that stream up, and we're going to be hanging out. We're going to be chilling for a little bit. But with that being said, before I end the stream and move to the members lounge, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who tuned in, to everybody who watched. Thank you for the continued support. I also want to give a big thank you to everybody who did gift memberships today. We hit 33 members, which is awesome to see. Crushed our goal thanks to, again, some of the very generous community members that we have here. And I also want to give a big thank you to everybody who donated a super chat. It is because of you guys that I'm able to do this, and it's a great thing. So big shout out to all of you guys. Big thank you. And the very last thing I'm going to ask you to do is just hit that like button for me. We're very close to 200 likes. I would really appreciate if we could hit the 200 like mark. And I also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. Devil Shooter does the timestamps for all the streams, and he does a fantastic job. So if you see him in the comments with the timestamps, give him a thank you. Or if you see him in the chat, just give him a thank you. But yes, for all of my channel members, I'm going to be setting up a another stream. It's going to go live in probably about 5 minutes or less, and we're going to be hanging out for a little bit. Okay. So I will see you guys in the members lounge. And for everybody else, until next time, take care, guys.